Hey everybody, it's Edwardo. You know who this is and you know what we do. I'm very excited to give a call sheet review and weekend preview of next week's or this week's talent pool. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so bear with me. But let's take a look at how the results turned out. And here are our final scores. Now, yes, I can hear it already now. This shit is rigged. No, actually, I think I actually kind of got lucky this week. um, what turned out to be some of the higher scores. Now, actually, let's sort these. Let's sort these by score. What's that, column I? There we go. Let's sort these by score. There we go, and see what. All right, so the top movie or program. I guess we'll start calling it because we're encompassing both series and movies. Was Tiger Tail. 76 Rotten Tomatoes critic scores, the audience score, and this is where we want to concentrate our efforts. Is the audience scores was 60% bonus of 73, pretty high also. Now, the Metacritic score, now this is interesting. See, now they actually got a Metacritic score of 66, but what I found out in my research is that the historical average of Metacritic TV shows is, I believe, 68, and the historical average of Metacritic movie scores is 64. So the average of those two is 66. This is dead on the historical average Metacritic score. I never thought that Metacritic would actually have grade inflation or rating inflation, but here we are. So it nailed that average on the dot. And then I swapped out, as you may notice, instead of having the Metacritic's audience score, because there really were few and far between. I only found one possibly for one of these programs. So I decided to switch it up. We're going to go with IMDb user score because, as you can see, IMDb, well-trafficked site. It's got a lot of traffic on it. And at the time I took down this score, it was 6.7. So, no, it was 6.6 the time I took the score, so it looks like it's bumped up even a little bit more. But at the time of scoring, this was a 6.6. So Tiger Tail is basically the high man for the week, 91.1. It's a pretty solid score. Now remember, as we're playing along from a game theory perspective, we need to focus our efforts on just a little bit more on thinking like the audience. What will the audience like? Because these audience scores with their 60% bonus will be game changers. Baptiste was second, 85.3, and so every time from here on out, and I'll try to put something on next week's sheet indicating that these will be in bold. And by in bold, it means that we did not have an actual score, but we're going with a default score. The historical average of Rotten Tomatoes critic scores is actually 52. So anytime that we don't get a score from the site directly, like in the case of the Clark sisters, we will fill in with a default score. So for Rotten Tomatoes critic score, it's 52. We'll give you dead average audience score for 50. As we mentioned before, the Metacritic's critic scores is unbelievably 66. And then they actually did get an 8.6 on the IMDb user score. And then you can see why I like the IMDb user score, because in this case, there's only one we had to fill in, and that was one of these weird Hallmark Aurora Tea Garden mysteries, all right? And you can see how it fills out down here. The worst performing program was the main event, 52.3 aggregate score, and this one actually had all four scores posted. So it just sucks. I don't know what to tell you. But what this should be instructive for us moving on in the future is figuring out also which platforms are going to give you the best chance to get a real score. Now, some shows you can already kind of tell, okay, it's probably going to suck, or it's going to get buried on Netflix, or I've never heard of any of these people, so it doesn't stand a chance of either getting covered by critics or accepted by audiences. And I would imagine a platform like IMDb user score probably skews a little, more North American, more U.S. So try to put yourself in the shoes of the American stay-at-home movie watcher, TV watcher. All right, because while something like what really was a surprise of the weekend, a pleasant surprise, was the Clark sisters. It was actually trending. It was the number one trending topic for most of Saturday night. Lifetime is just kind of king of these type of movies where they'll find these underserved niche audiences among women. Lifetime, I think, is still kind of geared toward marketing towards women. The black Twitter was all over the Clark sisters. About half a dozen, no, actually, we're actually a full dozen of the top 30 trending topics at one point involved the Clark sisters. It truly was a sight to behold. So even though we had to put in default scoring here, what really saved this bacon, what really kind of put it just a notch up over Trolls and Time to Hunt, was that IMDb score, my dude. Check this out. The IMDb score, Clark sisters. And it's gone up even since when I recorded. I had it 8.6. It's now gone up to even 8.7. People loved this movie, this Lifetime movie. So as we go on in this little alpha test run, we start figuring out which platforms are the most popular with people versus the critics, which types of shows or programs will actually get covered. Looks like Hallmark doesn't get covered much at all. Look at it, between Fashionably Yours and Aurora Tea Garden, we didn't get a single critical review, which is sad. At least Fashionably Yours got an IMDb user score. So just keep that in mind as we move forward for your game theory purposes. All right. So we can go over my call sheet real quick. I actually want to look at your guys' call sheets. But yeah, I just loaded up on Tiger Tail where I could. I had 3 Tiger Tails. My hunch was kind of right with Baptiste. As you can see, Baptiste was the second highest. Yeah, it was the second highest score for a program. What else do we have that performed well? And it was just basically minimizing my exposure to downside, because a lot of us got hung up on Love, Wedding, Repeat. Because it was a Netflix movie, it had a couple of notable stars, Sam Claflin, Olivia Munn, people we've seen in movies before. And honestly, I actually started watching it on Friday, and I had to turn it off after half an hour. It's not good. It's not good at all, buddy. So this is just me kind of getting lucky. Because I actually, had I thought more about it, I probably would have loaded up a little bit more on Love, Wedding, Repeat, just because it seemed like that type of sleeper rom-com hit that kind of sneaks up on people on the lazy weekend on Netflix. But people saw this movie and they rejected it. Look at these scores. Critics and even more damningly, the people. Where is it? Yeah, second lowest grossing one. Look at this. 33, 42. But those are critics, right? Critics, we're sourpusses or whatever. But look at 35. That's me. That's me registering how much I hated that movie. And a 5.6 IMDb user score. Honestly, 5.0 is like, I don't know if it's an actual average, but since we don't have numbers for that, we're just putting the default score at the dead middle between 0 and 10. But 5.6 isn't all that great when you look at all these other programs, these shows and movies, easily over 6. So you can tell this movie stunk it up. All right, so that's my call sheet. Let's take a look at Ringballs. Ringballs! Our boy Nicholas Ringwald, longtime Cinema Draft diehard. His call sheet was boned up with a lot of Time to Hunt, which was smart because, first of all, it was cheap. Look how cheap that is, $6,500 for 2 headliners. It's Korean, I believe. So he had 3 Time to Hunts and a Tiger Tail. So he was getting a lot of bang for his buck. Because look at some of these. Not Temple. I need to look at some of these. So look at his value. He actually, just second behind me in actual value in his budget, We both got near the max, and also our poor boy Diallo's first time he's playing Gangsta 283. And yo, Diallo, I appreciate the support. I hope to see you again playing this week. One thing we try to do is use up most of our budget if we can. I think you want to get within, say, I don't know, 5%. So 5,000 or less usually is a good rule of thumb. 6,000, 5,000 or less, maybe you want to get under. But Ringballs bet heavily on time to hunt, and as you can see with this new scoring, it can get kind of bunched up here. It can get pretty tight. 82.45, 83.9, 85.3. I mean, what's that? 3 points? 3 points separate the second from the fourth placed show. So he got a good bang for his buck, which allowed him to put in the ill-fated Trolls World Tour. And actually, it didn't even do that bad, I guess. 80.5. I mean, it's not bad. It's actually, fifth of the 10, so it's right in the middle of the pack. And Trolls tripped us up too. I mean, Trolls tripped me up. I think I wasted some money on Trolls. Yeah, see, I got a headliner from Trolls, 112.7 as a headliner score. That's fine, whatever. So he basically had good value from Time to Hunt, Tiger Tail, Love Wedding Repeat. He had one of those, got caught in that trap as well. But like I said, he minimized his exposure. And, he got lucky on the Clark sisters, like we all did. The Clark sisters, I mean, they also were, good solid value. Mary J. Blige, 6,000 headliner, getting you 117.46 points. Now that's some value. All right, and let's take a look at the other call sheet that I said that I thought would win it all. And boy, was all. Actually, before we go there, let's check out our reigning Cinema Draft champion, Gamble 24x7, Gamble 24 times 7. I call him the reigning king of Cinema Draft because he is the all-time Cinema Draft money leader, won over $2,200 playing our free-to-play game during our previous on-site based alpha test. So big ups to him, just a beast in this game. Came in third, very solid showing. He also wisely stocked up on some value. Time to Hunt, 1, 2, 4 actors from Time to Hunt, from Time to Hunt, and then also lucked up with the Clarksons. So this is an excellent start. Excellent start from these, but what tripped him up was the Bruise Brothers. That movie did not fare very well. 69.9 score. At headliners, just under 100. Looks like if you really want to score some points with a headliner, you need to get over 100 to make any hay. He was kept just there. Those two headliners kept you just under 100 at 97.86. And then also he got caught in the Trolls trap. Now, I call it a trap, even though yes, I set the salaries. I get it, but I fell for the trap too. I just had this super inflated idea of how well it was going to perform. It did not. So lesson learned. But yeah, strong initial showing, third place, way to be a sport, Gamble 24x7. And then the last one we're gonna look at is my mom, Brown Baby, aka the Draft Mom. And this is the one I thought was gonna take it because she had so much Tiger Tail, but you know what happened? How much is too much of a good thing? So she had 1, 2, 3. She had 4 Tiger Tail actors, but what because that burned up so much money, and she got caught in the Trolls trap, which I think most of us did. Most of us got caught in the Trolls trap. Then she didn't have any money left over to do anything decent. Then she was forced to kind of punt with Tichina Arnold in the main event, and we love Pam. We love Tichina Arnold, who played Pam on Martin, but the main event was not an event at all. Look at this score. Even for a headliner, only 73 points. Pretty sorry. She got her co-star requirement done here with Adam Pally. 52.3. I mean, that's just not going to get it done. I mean, when you have a week where our scores are all over like 1,000, the top 3 over 1,000. I mean, and then there's look at that. There's over 100 and almost 120 point gap between between Gamble24x7 and my mom. So, you know, just gotta do a little better next week. But great job, Mom. You weren't last. I'm extremely proud of you. Our boy The Roan, guest star on the pod a couple weeks ago. Sorry, my dude. Maybe we'll get a chance to look at your call sheet next week. All right, so let's take a look. Let's take a quick look at what's coming up this coming week or this week. Please remember the game starts Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Please make sure you have shared your sheet with me before then. And yeah, we got a couple recognizable titles here. Black AF. Actually, let me organize this talent pools. Talent pools unruly. Sorry, I usually I was in such a rush because I know I'm running a little late for you East Coast guys to get this out there. I didn't do all of my homework. Okay, so we'll sort this real quick. Do it by movie. Where you go? Do it by title. Then do it by salary. And we'll do it by actor. There we go. That's more orderly. All right. So let's start here with Black AF. Now, this one, you'd think that Edwardo didn't learn his lesson from last week. Edwardo didn't learn the Trolls lesson. But I've seen the trailer for Black AF. And yes, me personally, I'm African American. I am black as fuck. But the trailer is exceptional. It's the show from the creator of Blackish, Mixedish, and Grownish, and it's just excellent. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this show. Rashida Jones, she's hilarious. She's great. I mean, the marketing, the key art is incredible. Kenya Barris, I don't think he's really acted before or much, but this is based on his life somewhat. Just like actually Blackish. Actually, Blackish and Mixedish are both based on parts of his life or whatever. His Mixedish kind of follows his the kind of mirrors the childhood of his now ex-wife, who's in his fake wife in the show is played by Rashida Jones, and so it seems like there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there with colorism and being black rich among like white rich, and it just seems like it's going to be really good. The trailer is hysterical, and I just trust the Kenya Barris brand, so I went heavy, 23,000. These guys, I think it's going to score off the charts because he's really kind of clever, incisive writer, and with all the guardrails removed, being on Netflix where you can cuss and everything, I mean, I think he's going to have a good old time. So that's the high end of the spectrum. Toward the lower end, Beton Rausch. I think it's something German. Haven't heard about it. It's on Netflix. What else is interesting here? Endings Beginnings. Let's take a look at that real quick. That actually stars Shailene Woodley and Jamie Dornan. There we go. Of 50 Shades of Grey infamy. And as you can see, this one already has a bit of a user rating, so we got a head start. And I tried to factor that in a little bit when I doled out the salaries. So that's partially why it's up to 7,200, even though I'd never heard of this video on demand. That's what VOD stands for. Even though I'd never heard of this video on demand streaming offering, the fact that it stars these two who have some big screen cred, and the fact that it's already got a pretty decent start on its user rating on IMDb means that maybe, it might price it up a little bit. What else is interesting? Sela and the Spades. I'm intrigued by this one. It seems like it might be, it seems like a heavy high school drama. It's going more for drama. It feels kind of like Mean Girls, but taken seriously. Your boy Jesse Williams from Grey's Anatomy's in it. I don't know what it is, but I'm really getting into a lot of like present day high school drama stuff. Like I'm that guy that keeps watching 13 Reasons Why and stuff like that. I just find it endlessly fascinating, especially when I think back to my own high school experience. God, 25 years ago. It's just so different that I'm just fascinated by it. So I actually priced that one up too. Jarrell Jerome, I believe he won an Emmy for his work on When They See Us, Ava DuVernay's docu-series on the Central Park 5. Jesse Williams. So I think this actually will perform pretty well for Prime in the ratings. Sergio, price it up, baby. Look at Ana de Armas. I mean, currently known as the next Bond girl, and known for starring in a show with starring in a movie with Ben Affleck coming out soon, dating Ben Affleck, all sort of stuff. She's hot, so she's probably gonna get people to turn in. Prominent feature on the one sheet, and our boy, the ostensible lead of the show, of the movie, Wagner Moura. You might know him as a little guy named Pablo Escobar. Look at Pablo, dropped all that weight. A true actor morphing into his role. Yeah, Wagner Moura. He plays the lead guy in Sergio. I think this is based on a true story. So it's got a little star power. Some credible actors might get rated well. But it all kind of hangs on the audience review. So we'll have to see about that. And then of course The Last Dance. I think the audience score is just going to be through the roof. So I priced it accordingly. Michael Jordan is your headliner, 15,700. Phil Jackson, 14,900. And then as you can see, pretty much everyone who we think may appear in this documentary series has been added to the cast. And it's priced up because it's coming out on Sunday, April 19th. It's going to be prime time for ESPN. They're starving for content. The sports world is starving for sports-related content. I know I'll be watching. And from everything I've heard leaking out about this docuseries, that's been, I guess, 20 years in the making, 15 years in the making. They're going to bring the heat, so that's why it's priced up in the 14s and 15s. And then The Longest War, a documentary about Afghanistan, not very heralded. So, and as you can see, some of our presidents will most likely be making cameos in this documentary movie. All right, so that's it, everybody. Thanks for helping us test out this beta game. By the time you get this, that new talent pool should be up. Hit me back with some of your feedback if you have any, and looking forward to seeing those call sheets this week. Thanks for helping us out. Talk to you soon.